You're listening to a Countout Podcast.
What's up, and welcome everyone to your second New Japan Cupdate. I'm your bad friend Raffe Houston. I'm riding solo today as Curtis and I break down these individual cup dates for you as they play out. If you missed Curtis's Night 1, Night 2 review, feel free to jump back into the feed, skip back one episode, and you'll hear everything he had to say about those. I am here today, though, to talk about 3 and 4. And, man, this first one's going to be rough, so I'm not going to get too bogged down in it, but the first one was March 8th from Fukushima, Big Palette, Fukushima. The main heats are Toru Yano versus Mark Davis, and then Ren Narita versus Evil. Before I jump into those, there's been some fun tags and things like that on the show. Not really the point of this to get too bogged down in it, but I will say this is where, we're starting to see David Finlay starting to tag with the other members of Bullet Club, and there's a tension brewing between him and ELP that has been very interesting on all these shows. So that's something to watch. It could be a red herring and then it all comes back around. But hey, maybe we're heading towards like an ELP face turn or something like that. But I mean, it seems like Gato's picked his boy and Finlay is going to be, the main centerpiece of Bullet Club now. So it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. But yeah, jumping into the heat. The first one was Yano versus Davis. I was very excited to see Davis in solo action. He is also an Australian gentleman and a very good wrestler. And I've always got a pretty soft spot for Yano and his bullshit. That said, though, this match, I don't think they had heaps of chemistry for me. And yeah, like I said, I enjoy Yano's bullshit for the most part, but I don't know, something was a little flat, maybe just because I wanted to, see more out of Davis or something. But yeah, there was a fun little spot where Yano's fucking about under the ring and Davis ties a bag over his head and all these usual shenanigans. But really, this was just a placeholder for two reasons in my eyes. One, because Yano can beat everybody, you're like, is Yano the reason that, Davis will get knocked out of the tournament? Is he also the person that will then be the banana peel that will slip up Will Ospreay in coming rounds? But Davis got it done. Pretty dominant victory. And then he's on to face his stablemate in the United Empire, Will Ospreay. The next match was Ren Narita versus Evil. I wasn't really sure how this was going to go. I personally was hoping that Ren Narita would go through to face Jeff Cobb, because I would love to see a United Empire strong style feud for the Trios Championship, but it was not to be. Evil pulling through here in a pretty dominant victory. A lot of like the Dick Togo bullshit, nothing super creative here, but great fire from Ren Narita, and it felt like the crowd really, really wanted him to get through. I had been saying in our best case, worst case preview that we did of the New Japan Cup 2 episodes ago, that Sonata was my worst case scenario for who would win the New Japan Cup. In, maybe 17 days now, I go to Japan. My wife and I are going for a week to Kyoto, catching a bunch of stuff that we haven't seen before, and then we're going to Tokyo to meet friends, and we're actually going to be in Ryogoku Sumo Hall for Sakura Genesis, and my main fear was a main event between Okada and Sonata. I haven't particularly liked their matches, and I've always felt like Sonata has lacked fire for me. That said, in that match with Tai Chi, we definitely saw that start to appear. So I'm not sure Sonata's any longer my worst case after seeing this Evil match. I had said when we got to the semi-finals, like in my worst case, and it was Sonata versus Evil, I said Sonata's still worse because I thought he was more likely. I now think maybe Evil would be the worst case scenario if it was like this level of fucking unimaginativeness as far as interference and things go. That said, though, you know, when the whole House of Torch is there and they're pulling out all the bullshit and stuff and the crowd brutally hates them, then that can still be pretty fun. But yeah, this match was really flat. I'm not going to get too much into this night. I had seen the first two nights. Chris had spoken about them. I thought he'd done a really great job. And then I was very excited for this. And I was like, oh, man, this is a rough start to the tournament. But it's okay because the next night, night 4, was yet to come. And that was an absolute banger. So the next night was Friday, March the 10th from Amasei Yamanashi. It was the main events of Yoshihashi versus Kyle Fletcher and Shingo Takagi versus Aaron Hanare. Now, both matches were awesome. Both matches were really good. I've had my criticisms of Yoshihashi. I feel like he's not present. I think he's a really good wrestler, but he's always so awkward, like in everything he does, that just sort of lacks this fight. I feel like, you know, like if you look at somebody and you like blur your eyes and you're not really focusing on them, that's how I feel like he looks at the world. Like I feel like he's not present, and it's amazing that he does as well as he does because he looks like he's not even in the match. But he was facing Kyle Fletcher. Now, Kyle Fletcher, again, another member of Aussie Open, another Australian countryman. Dude, the potential, I don't think I've seen a young prospect with as much potential as Kyle Fletcher in a very long time. The dude's so young. He's tall. He's filling out. He's obviously putting in the work. Like the trainers he's had, trained by Robbie Eagles, now under the wing of Will Ospreay. The sky's the ceiling for him. You know what I mean? There's no ceiling on what he can accomplish in this business if he sticks with it and sticks with New Japan. I could see him as the next coming of Will Ospreay, but you know, with even more positive influences on him. So I think we're going to see great things from Aussie Open, but I think there's really a very good chance many years down the road he will be a single star in New Japan. Or in the world, maybe not even in New Japan, maybe in the world, but his potential is white hot. And this match really showed it. Quick note, if you haven't watched New Japan Tamashii from Melbourne, like the most recent one where it was Kyle Fletcher versus Robbie Eagles, really worth a watch. It was really cool. That same show was also headlined by Aaron Hanare versus Caveman Arg in an absolute slugfest. But yeah, Kyle and Yoshihashi were really, really good together. Lots of like crazy stuff like Canadian destroyers, brutal kicks to the head, slamming into barricades outside. But in the end, Fletcher manages to get it done with like a spinning tombstone. I think he calls it like the brimstone or the grimstone. When I heard like the Tamashii commentary, whichever name, that's cool and kind of put your own spin on it. So I like that. But yeah, really awesome. And also worth noting like how cool it is. Like the United Empire, man, when they first started, for me, it was like kind of this sort of awkward kind of faction that I wanted to be really good. But now they've really like hit their stride and are probably easily like the coolest faction in New Japan. So many great members, the vibe they bring in everything they do, their aesthetic, the fact that, you know, they all come out and support their guys. They don't get involved, but they're very present. and stuff leads to like a huge team feel. And we'll get to the end of tonight, but when they're all in the ring together, it looks like a really serious unit, and I super enjoy it. It's also worth noting that in this match, Jeff Cobb came out on commentary for the English announce team, and Okada was on Japanese commentary. And there was one fun moment where Kyle Fletcher dives out of the ring, slamming Yoshihashi into the barricade in front of the announcers, and Jeff Cobb's like, got the foam figure up, and Okada's like waving a glow stick and stuff. And they're just like this big cheer section for their boys. It's really cool. Then in the 7th match, it was Shingo Takagi, the KOPW champion, versus Aaron Hanare. Now, since I've been watching New Japan, I've been watching Aaron Hanare since he was a young lion, since he was injured. I've seen him in person quite a few times, not only in Japan, but also here in Perth, Australia. He came over for New Horizon Pro Wrestling. I've met him a few times. We get on really well. Like, I think he's just like a top dude. And to see him come this far and how hard he's worked and like how many, push downs and setbacks he's had, and the stuff with the pandemic and going overseas and training himself and everything. Like, he's one of like the hardest fucking working dudes that I've ever seen. And to see him come full circle with Shingo, somebody who he's had those higher profile matches against Shingo before, but it was like Shingo was his ceiling, like he kept hitting it. And I even remember Shingo putting him out. It may have even been an earlier New Japan Cup, putting him out with the Made in Japan, which kind of isn't even Shingo's main finisher. Well, in this one, it was a completely different Hanare. The moveset that he's developed, inspired by that Muay Thai, his aesthetic and his gear. I had seen, his stuff, training and things like that, and I had thought and I had said that in podcasts and stuff that it would be cool if he brought in more of that influence. That's exactly what he's done. The kicks, the knees, the explosiveness, and in this match, it gets to a point where Shingo hits that Made in Japan and Hanare kicks out, and you're like, this is a different guy now. He's found more power, he's worked harder, he's surrounded himself with this squad, and it felt like we were watching Hanare level up before our eyes. The Rampage tackle is one of like the most brutal spears, tackles, whatever you want to call it in wrestling. Like, it looks absolutely awesome. Streets of Rage, Ultima, the fists that were flying in this match, the hard hits. Shingo and Hanare just beat the absolute fuck out of each other. And then to see Hanare just overcome it all, make it through clean as a whistle, and pin the KOPW champion, potentially setting himself up for a title shot. It was just awesome, man. Shingo had just recently had a title shot, but I'm sure it was still, it's still tempting for companies like New Japan to go, well, Shingo's a draw. It starts in his hometown, send everybody home happy, move him deeper into the tournament, get more Shingo matches out of him. But I love that they had the faith in Hanare, the faith in their guy, and somebody that works out hard to go, you know what, this is your time. You're beating him in front of his hometown, and you're moving on to what's next. And that's just fucking awesome, man. I can't wait to see what's next. As I record this tonight, it's going to be Hanare versus Tama Tonga, the never openweight champion. Now, I don't know if Hanare can go through 2 champions in a tournament, but I'm fucking here for it. That would be awesome, man. In the best case, worst case scenario episode we did, my fantasy booking of it was Hanare beating both, then merging the belts, so I don't need to see that blue belt anymore. But I'm here for a title shot from Hanare. I'm here to see him level up. He's put in the work. I think it was 7 years or something he had said in a promo that he'd been in Japan. But in reality, it's been more than that. You know what I mean? It's been his entire life. Like, from the moment, growing up in New Zealand, literally fighting in the streets, to training, to meeting everything, to going through the dojo system, through injuries, through COVID, through everything. Like, there's not many people have worked that hard. So I can't wait to see him continue to like level up and get to the next spot. And that's why I love New Japan, because you get to see the evolution of these people, and you get to see it like actually play out. They're a company that are loyal to their crew, you know, their guys, their family. Like if you've gone through that system, and you have proven yourself and you've shown that loyalty and stuff, they're loyal to you. And it may not be the fastest system in the world, but to me, it's like, it looks like a job for life. You know what I mean? You become a part of that, and unless you choose to leave, they're going to take care of you and they're going to elevate you over time. And I think the hard work and dedication that Hanare has shown, and the absolute heater that United Empire on. I mean, we're heading into the second round now, and all 6 members of United Empire are still alive in the tournament. That's huge. 2 of which are tag guys. Tag guys in these kind of tournaments normally get knocked out pretty quick because it's, you know, not their specialty and things like that. But all 6 members are alive heading into this second round, and that's fucking crazy. So I'm looking forward to catching up on the next night and getting into this live night. I think it's Kyle Fletcher again and Hanare both together. Let's check as a team. Let's have a quick look here who it is. If I remember. Oh, that's right. Okay. I don't even need to look. March 12th. I know this shit. It is Kyle Fletcher versus Goto and Hanare versus Tama Tonga. So another double United Empire night. Man, crowns up. I can't wait to see where it goes. It's going to be fucking awesome. That's it from me. We're keeping these ones right. We're keeping them tight. We're keeping them short. Make sure you check out my co-host and your good friend Curtis online at Destructo83 or at Throwing Dice Pod to check out his Wargaming podcast, talking everything, things like Warhammer 40k, Marvel Crisis Protocol, and Dungeons and Dragons. You can follow me at Faces Feelscast and catch up on literally hundreds of episodes of my interview podcast, Faces and Feels. You can join the Patreon and listen to our extra little show, Drop Your Shorts. We're part of the Count Out Podcast Network, and any takings over there or any contributions go to supporting all the amazing shows on that network. You can subscribe there, www.patreon.com/countoutpod. You'll hear heaps and heaps of extra content, but you'll also hear Drop Your Shorts. So that's our little extra show that Curtis and I do when we record on show days. If you need internet protection, check out nordvpn.com/shorts. It's shorts for your internet, keeping you right and tight and safe from internet piracy, and also lets you throw your location around so you can stream from other locations around the world. And check out our link tree for all these nodes, linktr.ee/Okada Shorts. That's got links to all our shows. You can choose the way that you subscribe, the Okada Short Show or any of our other shows there, and find your way to everything that is Okada Shorts. So, yeah, rate and subscribe, listen or die, and remember to keep it right, keep it tight, and most importantly, keep it what? Short.
Hey guys, gals, and non-binary pals.
It's Amanda Bones.
And I'm Ashley. of How to Talk to Your Friend About Wrestling, the podcast on the Count Out Wrestling Podcast Network, a weekly show where we talk about all of our favorite things, babes, blood, and brutality.
We also talk about other fun things, like is Kenny Omega finally too tan? And how much blood is too much blood? Because that looks like way too much blood.
So join us on the adventure of teaching me, Amanda Bones, about wrestling.
This has been a Count Out Podcast.